Good evening, this is Maestro Cortello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a big 3v3 on Argus Desert Gate. Our first player on the blue team is Kaldoot as the Eldar Warlock, Uthwade DLC. Can either be a really tanky melee hero or disruptive spellcaster, depending on how you get him out. We also have classy Bro Captain David with the Death Corps of Krieg DLC. Commissar, interesting support hero, slightly tanky. We also have as another Commissar, this guy not with any DLC, just the straight fucked up face that you can see, the bionic eye, Templar, Money Ghost. On the other side, the red team, we have big booty white girls. I like big booty white girls. But anyway, he's playing as the Eldar Farseer, a melee hero, mostly focuses on casting spells to either buff or debuff troops. Right now we see her shooting with her pistol from behind cover. We also have, as the Space Marine Apothecary, Jimmy Rustles, a healing hero who mostly focuses on healing and is not terribly good at anything else, but is still very good through healing. Looks like Blood Angel's armor or colors. And finally, we have VeeSnack, doing a stomp and getting knocked back. This is the Orc Warboss, a very, very big orc, very scary, running through cover on retreat, running over a ton of stuff. Anyway, we now have Blood Angels Tactical Marines in cover, shooting at Guardsmen and Dire Avengers. They're about to get, I think, maybe overwhelmed by a ton of different stuff. Sentinel right here does not yet have the ground pound, so it can't actually do anything to these tacks. Now, I think one of the problems with the units like TACs or CSM in big 3v3s or in general is that, especially if they're up against large groups of infantry, even if they're better on paper, they will usually suffer disproportionate economic losses. We actually have an execute right there. I don't know if that was to break a retreat or if it was simply to buff their damage. Execute, ability from the Commissar Lord, kills one of his own units, but makes them fight harder, doing a lot more damage. And no one has gotten this contested victory point yet up here in the middle. Most of the fighting has been up here, though, I think. We got Sluggas retreating. One of them has big shooters, but getting chased down a little too much by this Commissar from Bro Captain David. Templar is saying that he hates Sentinels, and what happened was he lost his, apparently, somehow.
An ally has secured a power node.
And on this side, looks like the blue team has actually yet to put down any generators here, unless they, unless Big Booty White Girls pushed up so far in here and even got a gen bash off. Now we have the Warboss doing a big stomp, but not having an animation when he did that. Just kind of exploded. We have, from Kaldoot, we have actually triple Dire Avengers into a Guardian weapon team. That's an interesting build. I've been seeing a lot of heavy Dire Avenger play from Eldar players in teams. The interesting thing about this is that, Dire Avengers only cost, I believe, 230 requisition. So you can actually use your starting requisition to put 3 of them out on the field. And they actually have pretty good DPS. They have the DPS of a tac squad while costing about half as much. So I think it's the highest DPS you can put out from ranged right at the start of the game with any race. Combined, it's something like 120 DPS, a little more than that, actually, probably closer to 130. Kaldoot's Warlock, way too overextended, though, and while I'm talking about Dire Avengers, he actually loses one of them already. So, some mismanagement by Kaldoot. Going to get another Guardian weapon team, though. This is a pretty good build. 2 Dire Avengers into 2 Guardian weapon teams. And we do have this Guardian weapon team right now kind of controlling this whole red team blob. But the Guardian weapon team is focusing on these units up over here by the building, the TACs, the shooters, and the Apothecary. So now the Guardian weapon team actually gets suppressed by the Devastators, which were not currently being suppressed. And still the Devastator is not being suppressed. It's actually both suppressing and killing this Guardian weapon team. Guardian weapon team really close to dying. Loses 2 models. And we do have grenades from this Dire Avenger squad. Choose to use it on a Shooter Boy squad instead of on the TACs in the garrison. So it looks like most of the fighting's been going on up here. Red team going to get this contested victory point Meanwhile, blue team actually lost their natural victory point, but are decapping red's natural with the Sentinel. Classy Bro Captain Sentinel. David is floating a massive requisition, 1,000 requisition. Probably gets something with that. He may want to go to tier 3 as soon as he can. And right now, I was about to say it was a no cap, but red got the contested victory point. Looks like Kaldoot was kind of expressing some doubt there. Lost a lot of units. Well, he lost the Dire Avenger squad and his Warlock. Sentinel getting chased down by a huge Eldar and Space Marine blob combined right here. 2 Dire Avengers, both with the aspect, as well as this Howling Banshee squad that does not have an aspect. And the red team is once again pushing right up to the blue team natural victory point and straight up just capturing it. We now have a mortar team out from Templar Ghost. Some people have been talking lately, kind of talking about the mortar team and complaining about it. Some people have been saying that it's really bad and that it scales horribly. Although at the same time, the main thing about it is that it does hard counter setup teams, and I really mean hard counter. One setup team is not going to have much effect as long as a mortar team is on the field, and it's really called an artillery spotter squad and not a mortar team. And if you get 2 of them, there's really, I mean, obviously, people have been complaining about artillery spotters, so they may not be that good, but they're still hard counter setup teams. If you have a setup team while your opponent has a mortar team, the setup team basically isn't going to be worth much. Anyway, more stuff is going on over here. I think more of the big fighting, because we have 2 races from both sides going on over here. That Devastator, again, somehow getting the drop on that Guardian weapon team and suppressing it first and killing models in the process. Catachan Devils now out for David. We also have Execute again to increase damage. Catachan Devils overextend a little bit. Catachan Devils do a ton of damage, but they are not terribly tanky. And Kaldoot, again, being not managing his Dire Avengers that well again. This one almost died. Got down to 1 model. Still the big, massive range fire, but the Sentinel needs some repairs from the Guardsmen. And Guardsmen, we do see that Death Corps of Krieg DLC kind of just makes them look like German World War II soldiers. Kind of. Similar helmets, although they also have gas masks and the lasguns. Their lasgun actually looks a little bit like the German MP40 used during World War II. So, red does manage to force off the blue team. And now Jimmy Rustles, with his big army of 5 units, is actually kind of camping up here. It looks like he's changing his attacks to to Stern Guard veterans. More actual fighting is going to happen right here with David. No, I'm sorry, not David, but Templar Ghost fighting with his Guardsmen. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble with these Howling Banshees here from Big Booty White Girls that actually still does not have any aspect. I wonder if he hasn't decided, but these Howling Banshees are basically uncountered at the moment, and are they going to wipe this Guardsman squad? I think the Guardsman squad will just about get out of there, but that was close. That was a close call. Templar Ghost is in a little bit of trouble because he doesn't really have a counter for those Dire Avengers. And now this Artillery Spotter squad in a lot of trouble. It has Banshees in its retreat path. Does not want to stay here too much longer. I think better fighting is going on here. Devastator Marines have the high ground. Interesting firing arc. And then Stern Guard veterans right here, still using Kraken bolts. I think maybe targeting the Sentinel, which has heavy infantry armor, and Kraken bolts from Stern Guard do increased damage to heavy infantry armor. Heavy weapon team from Templar Ghost. And Templar Ghost, while I was not watching, did indeed lose that Artillery Spotter squad. Must have lost it to those Banshees. But he now has Stormtroopers on the way. Bro Captain David also has Stormtroopers. And this, oh man, that heavy weapon team getting flanked by Wraithguard, which have been improved a little bit. And now we have Catachan Devils. They have been, a member was executed, and wow, they went down really quickly there. Unfortunately, they were executed, which means they couldn't retreat. That is the big risk to using execute. Your units cannot retreat for a certain period of time. I don't know what the exact time period is, and now we have stick bombers out for VeeSnack. VeeSnack was kind of low on units. He lost a Slugger squad, but he did get 2 stick bomber squads. For a long time, I didn't see Stick Bomb play, but Stick Bombers, I think at least in a lot of both replays I've been watching as well as games I've been playing, Stick Bombers have really been proving their worth. Just as a great anti-blob unit, especially because they have huge range. Their range is actually well beyond their sight. And everyone has kind of abandoned this top victory point right now, but Red has that victory point, so they are going to be the ones to win significantly on the VPs right now. Over a 200 VP lead from the red team. Commissar Lord kind of runs in, actually uses Execute on the Wraith Guard, and now tons of stick bombs going in, causing all sorts of mono losses. I think Templar Ghosts, he just barely got that Imperial Guardsman squad out of there, and big fights between blobs. Guardian weapon team shooting, and now since those regular stick bombs must have been on cooldown, they use stun stick bombs, and everyone's really focused on the middle right now. Blue team is fighting in the middle, and they're losing the fights. The red team is pushing all the way up to Blue's natural, and then Blue still doesn't have this contested victory point, down still by well over 200 victory points. Kaldoot in all of that lost another shuriken cannon. However, David, fortunately for him, he is wiping, oh man, nearly wiped an Assault Marine squad with that Manticore. It's actually such a great idea to get a Manticore as Imperial Guard, especially in teams. It's so good in teams because we see a lot more blobbing up of units in teams. And it's good even outside of teams, but it's better in teams than it is in 1v1. Autocannon heavy weapon team now from Templar Ghost, going to be doing explosive damage to all targets. And finally now we have Kaldoot back-capping this middle victory point while literally every player is focusing on the middle here. That's going to give it's going to give the victory points back to Blue, but they still need to capture their natural. Manticore shot going off, but Dire Avengers do retreat in time and take minimal losses. It does force them off though. We have this Wraith Lord right here, which is actually doing a lot of good work for Kaldoot, and I think he's using it mainly actually as ranged. He's not going up too far with it. Basically just using it as a armored mobile ranged DPS platform, which I think is a very good use for it. It does have very good range damage with the combination of the shoulder-mounted shuriken cannon as well as whatever the pea shooter is on its wrist. It does pretty good damage. I was going to say very good. It's not very good damage, but it's pretty good, and it's on this armored mobile platform that you also do not want to approach in melee with. You do not want to get hit by its sword with most units, or you never want to get hit by its sword, but I think most of the units out for both teams especially cannot take the Wraith Lord in melee. In fact, it's interesting, Kaldoot is actually using his Wraith Lord kind of like a Sentinel, and a Sentinel that does more damage and has vehicle armor. Basically, he's using it as a source of ranged DPS that does not itself bleed, while using his base units, his Dire Avengers, mainly as support to repair it. And now we have a big, massive cloaked units, I think, from this Webway Gate, from Big Booty White Girls. Howling Banshees just kind of walk in on that heavy weapons team and force it off, scare it off. Howling Banshees themselves retreat, though, because they were at about half health. Big Booty White Girls, though, he can heal them if he chooses to, but his Farseer is all the way in base. Farseer fully kitted out with the Gravity Blade. Farseer goes into the Webway Gate, so I can't look at her war gear anymore. Double snipers for Jimmy Rustles. Going to be very good against Eldar. Not so much as against Imperial Guard, though. But Jimmy Rustles is taking back the middle victory point for the red team. And the red team has already been dominating for most of this game, inflicting more losses and controlling the VPs better as well. Jimmy Rustles does have a fully kitted out Apothecary, though, mastercrafted bolter, armor of purity, and improved medical equipment. Mainly going to be used to spam heals. That's mainly the purpose of this build. And now we're going to watch this big fight instead of talking about heal spam. A lot of units getting exploded on both sides. First from the stick bombers, then from the Manticore on this side, but I think the blue team took the heavier losses there. and lost more of the map control. Ogren's in a ton of trouble. Haven't lost any models yet, but at about less than 40% health, I think, depending on my ability to judge how full that bar is. Autocannon Havoc. I mean, not autocannon, heavy weapon team. Way too close here. Gonna get wiped, I think. Wow. Those shots from the Wraith Guard. Wraith Guard have been improved in the Elite mod now. They go a little bit faster, and they have a, I believe it's a shorter, they have a slower, faster wind-up time for their attacks. And it looks like Kaldoot is coming up here with his Wraith Lord that he's using like a Sentinel. But I think it seems like he's slightly outnumbered to me. But then, none of the units over here are really hard AV. So the Wraith Lord kind of counters everything here. But now we have Vanguard Veterans. Dangerous, tier 3 elite melee unit. Basically an upgraded version of Assault Stormtroopers. We can see that the one model, the Sergeant, has a Thunder Hammer, which looks amazing on a squad. And again, we have that Wraith Lord as a Sentinel, just kind of standing back and doing ranged DPS. And now the Vanguard Veterans have the Power Fist, going to make them do a little bit better against this Wraith Lord. Presumably does heavy melee damage. And this is not a good situation for Kaldoot, I think. His Guardian weapon team in a ton of trouble, and now his Wraith Lord is unsupported. And now we have, oh man, we have the Death Rolla from VeeSnack. And here's that charge, knocking over guardsmen, just running them over. Oh my god, losing a ton of health. Oh, did it wipe them by running them over. That Death Rolla and this Wraith Lord, oh man, I think a little too unsupported, getting hit by Assault Space Marines as well as Vengeance rounds. Down here, I think we're going to have a wipe on the Las Cannon Devastators from Jimmy Rustles. He had Las Cannon Devastators, maybe to help deal with the Wraith Lord from Kaldoot. These Ogren's in a little bit of trouble right now. Gravity Blade from the Farseer, unfortunately not getting anything because those Ogren's retreat out of there in time. Back over here, we do have, wow, Kaldoot lost a ton of his units. Kaldoot lost his Wraith Lord. He also lost his, he also lost a Falcon that he had, I believe. And it's already down to 6 victory points for the blue team. One of the victory points gets decapped. In fact, the natural victory point for red gets decapped, keeping the blue team in this game. And Warlock in against way too much enemy units. He's by himself against all these units. And now Terminator's out for Jimmy Rustles. And Kaldoot down to almost nothing. Lost another Dire Avenger squad. Has a Guardian weapon team. Only has 3 units compared to Big Booty White Girls. Getting to the point where he has more units than will be displayed on the replay screen. Lots of but now we have a lot of the big tier 3 plays. Massive Manticore strikes going down on this battle wagon, which is not moving and has lost a ton of health. Oh wow. We had a Demolisher cannon shot from this Baneblade out for Classy Bro Captain David. That actually wiped a Stick Bomber squad before they could get into the battle wagon. Red is actually coming around for a flank. I was going to say gonna take out that Manticore, but a blast from this Fire Prism takes it out. That's really sad. Manticore is such a good asset in teams. And Fire Prism from Big Booty White Girls is going to be dead from this Baneblade from Bro Captain David. There it goes. And now we have another Baneblade out for Templar Money Ghost. And blue team staying in this game despite only 6 victory points. Still 300 for the red team. Baneblade doing a ton of damage. Angels of Death for Jimmy Rustles. And also user choppas on the Vanguard veterans. VeeSnack helping his teammate, using user choppas on the Vanguard veterans, but they do jump out of there. And these 2 Baneblades really supporting blue team's push, but blue team has lost a ton of units and all that. Big Booty White Girls did lose his Farseer, but he's got like 6 or 7 units. He's got that Fire Prism, and now we have a Rocket Run doing damage to Terminators, but not killing any models yet. Terminator squad loses 1 model so far. Will they lose another? Red team coming back up here. Single Dire Avenger squad behind a shield. Shield gets destroyed, and this Dire Avenger team needs to go. We're now starting to see D-cannon spam from Kaldoot. Really, it's a plasma cannon, basically. Plasma cannons, generally good, pretty good in teams, especially for stopping captures, because they have sight into a VP that's being captured, and then you can always just attack ground. And now we're going to see a singularity from that D-cannon. Going to suck in a bunch of these units right there. Two squads get sucked in, lose most of their health and models, but do not get wiped. And one squad gets wiped from Big Booty White Girls. Big Booty White Girls suffered tremendous losses right there. Lost a ton of units, down to 3, getting a second Fire Prism. These double Bane Blades really causing the red team problems right now. Blue team lost so many units, but they're really pushing back with these double Bane Blades. Red team actually having trouble with it, and red team still hasn't been able to get that victory point. And now we have still a D-cannon. We have Castricans out for Classy Bro Captain David. This is an elite tier 3 infantry, new to the elite mod, has a very high damage, getting the weapon expertise upgrade that basically makes their damage even better. And they can be upgraded for with a number of different weapons. They can be upgraded to definitely plasma guns, as well as, I believe, meltas. I think they might have one other choice there that I don't remember. They can actually be upgraded with grenade launchers. A single stick bomber boy is throwing grenades. Now, Kaldoot over here has a fully kitted out Warlock. This is one of the most typical builds for the Warlock. Witchblade of Kurnos, Providence, and Warp Throw. Providence allows the Warlock to be invulnerable, gives him a rapid energy regeneration, and reduces his cooldown. Basically allows you to just spam his abilities, both from Warp Throw and the Witchblade of Kurnos. That's Ethereal Slash. And now we actually have double flash kits, both with Blastas from VeeSnack. VeeSnack has definitely lost some units, though. His Warboss is on the floor right there. And he also lost a Stick Bomber squad and a Shooter Boy squad. And this Warlock in right here, tanking a lot, knocking things over with the Witchblade of Kurnos, and now doing Warp Throw just to disrupt them. Another... Ooh, and we have a Rocket Run that is missing almost everything. Only kind of hits Terminators a bit, but really doesn't do enough. Blue team hanging in there in this game. They actually have the contested victory point. They have a 2-cap. Double Bane Blades coming in again. The red team just having a lot of trouble with these double Bane Blades. I'm wondering what they could do to deal with these double Bane Blades. And this Bane Blade right here actually really destroying this Wraith Guard. Certainly Fire Prisms are going to help, but it's obviously not enough right now. Big Booty White Girls doesn't really have generalist units out on the field right here. He really has a lot of specialty units. The Wraith Guard, the Fire Prism, as well as the Guardian Weapon team. This Farseer, by the way, fully kitted out with Gravity Blade, allows her to levitate enemy units in the air and just kind of hold them there for a bit. Spirit Zones to heal units, and Rune Armor, mostly stat increase, although in the Elite mod it has been giving a Psionic Storm-like ability. Stick Bombers right here, about to throw some, I think those are stun bombs, but now we have 2 D-cannons from Kaldoot up here. 4 D-cannons in total. His other D-cannons are right here. D-cannon spam, 4 of them. You don't see that very often. But D-cannon is very good in team for holding victory points. Kind of a smart play by Kaldoot, to be honest, at a time when they basically blue team. It's not just enough for them to just win fights. They can't allow the red team to take any victory points. And these D-cannons are going to be really good for denying those victory points. We have a low health Dire Avenger squad in cover. Has been upgraded to the Dire Avenger Exarch. And this Warboss kind of just trying to walk in and cap, I think. But now kind of walking out, taking too much damage. Fire Prism, going to get some shots off on something. More fighting going on in the middle. This Bane Blade right here. These double Baneblades are really bringing it back for the blue team. Already bringing red team down to 150 victory points. And amazingly, red team still just not doing much damage to these Baneblades. Now we have infiltrated scouts just going for the decap. Something's got to force them off, or they will get that decap off. Maybe a singularity, maybe just a straight up shot from the D-cannons. There goes a singularity. Gonna get those scouts off of that cap. Maybe even wipe them. Definitely gonna wipe them at this point. Yeah, after taking all that damage, that was gonna be a squad wipe on the attacks. I mean, on the scouts. And Jimmy Rustles has actually lost a lot of his army right now. He does have some very good units on the field in the form of level 4 Stern Guard veterans, level 2 Vanguard veterans, as well as these Terminators. But he lost both of his scout squads, so he's not in a good position to support a vehicle play if he wanted to do that. He should probably get maybe a las cannon Devastator and another singularity going off here, I think. But not gonna suck anything in. It sucks in a few units, even sucks in their own Warlock. Bunker over here upgraded to some kind of bunker. I didn't see what kind. I just know it got upgraded. And the Warlock all the way in here, just doing disruption with the Witchblade of Kurnos. And this Guardian weapon team at 10 health. Lots of fighting going on right here. Big booty white girls now with an Avatar. But this Avatar has taken a ton of damage, especially now that there's a Castrican squad with plasma guns. And this Lehman Russ actually is going to be doing bonus damage to the Avatar because it does plasma cannon damage. And this Avatar is done. So sad. That Avatar's done. And this Warboss probably going to go down. It gets upgraded to heavy armor, but that heavy armor, although it increases his maximum health, it does not increase his health if he's already low on health. And we have some frustration from the red team. Blue team actually not celebrating too early. Is this Fire Prism going to go down from a Lehman Russ? An Executioner Lehman Russ? It did. And now a red team is low on units, and this is a game that red team can easily lose at this point. Losing more units go down. Units go down from VeeSnack. And blue at this point bashing generators. For what? I mean, at this point, I guess bashing generators is going to win the game. Wasn't expecting that. That is actually a win for the blue team, by the way. Red just lost too many units. Somehow after that pretty bad opening from the blue team, they turned it around amazingly. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.